Morning, day 2 of my adventure in Gibraltar. I'm on the eastern beach. How about that for a backdrop? Yep, the eastern beach. Heading out towards the Mediterranean. Probably next stop, Corsica, Sardinia. Anyway, I'm going to go down the eastern side of the rock today and then pop into the town later. Hope you enjoy. Catalan Bay. This is on the east side of the island. There's a certain area that might look like Balmoral. Right, you can hear me because it's incredibly windy on the east side today. But this is a place called Sandy Bay, which I'm sure when it's not windy and it's sunny, a bad place if you're into water sports and surfing at night. There's the rock. Don't know if the sky was on yesterday. That's going all the way down to the side. I think if you look very carefully, that's Africa. How about that for a town hall? This Parliament Square, they're obviously doing renovations there. That's the Irish town that I've just walked up from. And you may notice in the corner, the bastion of British retail, Matalan. Yup, that's Marks and Spencer's on the main street. However, went in there yesterday looking for a sandwich and they don't have a sandwich section. Not a real M&S in my view. Carrying on, walking up the main drag. You forget Gibraltar is actually a walled city. Generally, probably about a third of what we call modern day Gibraltar is within the walls. And I'm about to leave ancient Gibraltar. Right, that's the cable car that goes up to the rock. That's an incredibly steep climb, and it's not that big. Despite the pain, I walked it instead. Despite not being horticulturally minded, let's have a look. It's places like this that remind you, despite all the Britishness on show, you are very much in the Med. Note to self, buy a gimbal to stop the bouncing. Beautiful there, when the sun's out. What did they say about Britishness? I can't even think of where one of these is back home. I suspect here, the Bahamas, Hong Kong, etc. probably got loads. Nearly at the end of my walk today, but I saw this viewpoint. Now that is the southern tip of Spain, so technically speaking, Spain is further south than Gibraltar. And you've got this little inlet here. Loads of ships just anchor, and there's a boat over there, the blue and white one. I think it takes you to North Africa, which, weather permitting, we might see in a minute. Bits of footage of the stadium I was in last night. Daylight today. I was over the left hand side about 4 blocks in. You may not care for religion generally. I generally find they're quite bigoted and don't like my like. But that is one stunning bit of architecture. This is quite possibly the furthest south on continental Europe I'll ever get. I'll have to check this out. I think Malta was further south, but that's not on continental Europe. That's Spain over there, which is a little bit further south. And I don't know if you can see below the clouds there, those mountains. North Africa. Unlikely to step foot on that continent, not exactly welcoming to my type, be it culturally or otherwise. But it just shows how close you are when you get to this part of the world. Having walked from the airport, I'm now going to have a sit down. Let me take you on a tour of Europa Point, the end of the Gibraltar Peninsula. We have the lovely lighthouse there. That's the end of the rock. There is a battery up there somewhere, which you can walk up to. I think the very top is still MOD. Mosque there, a lovely bit of architecture regardless of your religion. This is the Point Europa Stadium. Anyone who follows me on social media will have seen my attendance at that last night at the football match. Small, did the job. Harding's battery, which is a massive gun. Those who say size doesn't matter clearly haven't seen the size of that gun, and I'll show you in a minute how actually close to Africa we are. So let's go into Harding's battery. But this is Europa Point. Right, here's the gun itself. Rails presumably there to put the ammunition from wherever it's stored. Needless to say, I think that would shoot a shell to Africa for me. Always fun and games when you're walking down a pathway and there's no pavement. Not the busiest of roads, but it's busy enough. More ships. And it is scooter country. Don't know why us Brits have never actually got the scooter thing. Oh, bus coming. Have to get out of the way. Right, this is the business part of Gibraltar. Football fans, Arsenal. Oh well, someone has to disappoint them, I suppose. Nice church over there. The rock up that street. And now we walk down into the main drag. The cars turn off to the left and then it's pedestrianised all the way down. Marks and Spencer's next, Matalan, all the great Gibraltar classics. Right, walking down the main street. Reminds me a bit of a let at this. See previous videos. Very nice. When it's been about 22, 23 today. If you've got money, there's money to be spent here. And they are very proud of their British heritage. Lots of tunnels here, but it is a walled city, so not unexpected that you're going to have to walk through a few to get into and from various places. This is the back of Casement Square, heading towards my hotel. And when the camera meter adjusts, we go over a little footbridge. And there's the walls. This is the Trafalgar Graveyard. which, according to the sign, dates from Nelson's victory. I'm not usually one for looking at stuff like this, but it's very pretty. This is Queensway Quay, residential development. Reminds me of St Catherine's Dock in London. Anyhow, I did look up in one of the property places that one of these apartments was going for 1.6 million. What a nice little enclave. This is Commonwealth Park in the shadow of the walls. Very nice. Right, Sunday morning, and I've just had a mooch and a walk down through a place called Europort to what looks like the commercial docks. I do know there was a Virgin cruise liner in here yesterday, obviously left overnight, didn't see it go, but that's Spain over the other side. Very commercial, both sides of this side and the Spanish coast. Incidentally, behind the camera there's a Morrison's supermarket and a McDonald's, so British influence is very clear. Right, I did this when I arrived, but I was lugging my suitcase, so I didn't do it that well. And it's not often that you get to walk across an airport's active runway, but this is what it is. This is Gibraltar Airport, and there's the building over there. No planes in currently, and I think there's only one more due today, British Airways one to Heathrow. I'm on one of those tomorrow. But as you can see, it's a runway. And as you can also see, there's the rock. Now on Friday, and I'll add this in a minute after this video, I was down here just nosing, and because it was very windy, and you get strange winds off that rock, where the British Airways plane went around twice. I'm not sure it even landed a third time because the later one was cancelled. But yeah, taxiway, fresh old markers. Planes actually turn around when it gets to the come back. But yeah, natural runway. And the skin marks from the plane's wheels because we're on the actual runway, didn't we? And this is actually going over towards Spain now. Most majority of Gibraltar is behind me, which you can see. There's just a little bit of it on this side between here and the Spanish frontier, which I'm going to look at in a minute. But there you go, Gibraltar Airport, active runway, and I've just walked across the middle of it. Right, Spanish border. I think only the second time in my life I've been to a border on the land. I drove from France to Spain once. Generally speaking, I fly into places now. And that's the airport over there, which I'm flying out of tomorrow. So, let's head back across the runway to the rock. Right, walking down to my hotel, Devil's something Tower Road, I think it's called. Got the rock up there. You used to be able to get from the rock to Spain by having to drive across the runway. I hope by now you've already seen my video when I arrived of walking across the runway. Now you can still walk and cycle across the runway, but you can't drive across the runway anymore because at the end of my road, when you turn left, you get in a tunnel under the runway and that takes you to Frontier. However, it gets quiet later on at night, and you've got that to look forward to every morning. The other side actually is the runway and Gibraltar Cemetery. Take your pick as to which you'd prefer. Right, here we are, Holiday Inn Express. Get a better look in a second. There we go. Cemetery's down there. That new block of flats down there is the Eastern Beach, which I went to earlier today. I think they're going to develop that into some sort of holiday resort. And there's the rock, which my window looks out onto. Okay, this is the view from the back of my hotel. I'm on the 6th floor, so this is pretty high up. The cemetery there, the runway in the distance, the airport, and Spain. Plane only gets here about 4 times a day. Essentially after about 2 o'clock it's closed.